shekel. I said, for how long? 3 weeks, you have to leave the dog by me. I said, for 4,200 shekel, I'll give you one of my kids. I'm not training a dog for 4,200 shekel. The whole dog didn't cost 4,200 shekel. To train. All right, let's go. I have a flight to catch, Rabbi says, so we have to move a little bit quicker than usual. What? 100 shekel a day. It's not so bad. Ooh, shkoyach.
Great to see.
Really? I hope he reads it. Beautiful. Thank you. All right, are we live? Rabbi said we're live. Okay, we're holding Daf Gimel and Aleph by the Mishnah. So straight out halachas of Temurah. Ha'oifos v'amenachos einois in Temurah. Temurah. What does Temurah mean? If one has a carbon, he designated an animal as a carbon, and then he takes animal B, another animal that's chulin, and says that chulin should be just like that animal carbon instead of that animal. He's a over iser d'oraisa called Temurah. They both become kadosh. You put both of them on the mizbeach b'derech klal. However, if you have a bird in your hand, you have a bird that's designated as a carbon, and you take another bird, another pigeon, and you say this pigeon should be instead of that bird that's kadosh, it doesn't work. Temurah doesn't work on birds. It doesn't work on a mincha, on flour. In the pasuk we had behema b'behema, the two words behema one after another. It says mefurish in the pasuk it has to be an animal, not a bird. Anytime you have more than one person involved in an animal, there's no temurah. So if it's a carbon tzibur or you have a partnership, there's no temurah. Shenemar. The whole parsha is said in a lashon of singular. Lo yachlifenu v'lo yomir. Doesn't say lo yamiru, lo yomir. Yochadoy se temurah ve'ein atzibur v'ashut v'moisim temurah. If I have an animal that's designated for the upkeep of the Beis Hamikdash, it doesn't do temurah. Omer Reb Shimon, and I'll prove it to you. V'arei b'maiser b'chlal hoya. So it goes like this. We're going to talk about this a little bit today. We have two psukim in this parak is unbelievable. Parak Chav Zayin. We just all day for the last month we're talking about parak Chav Zayin Bayikra. Pasuk Yud tells us the halacha of Temurah. You probably can't read it because it's a very long psukim. But it says, trust me, it says, Lo yachlifenu v'lo yomer oisi toiv berar rabbi toiv im homer yomer behema behema v'ayuhu smurasoi yeh kodesh. This is the pasuk in Temurah, pasuk Yud. All of a sudden, pasuk Lamed Gimel, when it talks about meiser behema, it says the same exact thing again. Lo yevaker bein toiv l'rav v'lo yomireno v'im homer yomireno v'ayuhu smurasoi yeh kodesh lo yigal. Huh? You shouldn't choose. Yeah, you shouldn't pick and choose between a good and a bad. It's all so. Varei meiser beklal hoya. When it says pasuk yud, this includes every single carbon in the world: the oila, shlamima, ashama, meiser behema, bechar, everything. So then, why in the world does the Torah repeat itself in pasuk lamed gimel? V'lama yatsa loy malach ma meiser carbon yachid. Now, if you go to what we say every morning, all of us say it every morning. Rabbi Shmuel loymer b'sholish esrei midas haTorah dreshes behem. What's number 8? Nu. Kol davar shahaya bechlal. Yotza min haklal lelamed. Loy lelamed al atzma yotza. Lelamed al klal kuli yotza. Come on, okay, fine, we're getting there. But this is a klal that if you have something just like we just discussed. You have something that's included in Pasuk Yud. Then the Pasuk repeats itself in Pasuk Lamed Gimel. Why is it Yotzam in a klal? Why did the Torah repeat itself again? L'lamed al klal kula yotza. To tell us on everything in Pasuk Yud. All the korbanos in the world are going to have the same halacha as the Meiser Behema. Ma Meiser Behema korban yachid, just like Meiser Behema. Meiser Behema is only brought for individual. Yatsu korban is tzibur. Uma meiser korban mizbeach, just like meiser goes on top of the mizbeach. Yatsu korban is bedegabayis. It comes to exclude animals that were donated for the upkeep of the Beis Hamikdash. Temurah Baron. Yochol yu kochi bedek habayis oisim Temurah. I would think that if somebody designates an animal to the Beis HaMikdash, it should work as a Temurah. Tamad loymar karbon. The pasuk before, pasuk test, not pasuk yud. Right before, I really didn't have room for pasuk yud. It says over there the word karbon. Mi shenikru karbon yotzu koche bedek habayis shelo nikru karbon. The Gemara says that bedek habayis, if you have an animal that was donated to the upkeep of the Beis HaMikdash, it's not called a carbon. That would make sense to us. If we were writing the Torah, that's how we would write it. A carbon is something you bring onto the Mizbeach, not an animal that you bring to the bedek habayis. It's not something that Beis HaMikdash sells and creates a little cash flow and uses that cash for the Beis HaMikdash. That's not a carbon. V'loi, what do you mean? V'tanyo, carbon in the parsha of Shchuti Chutz. You're not allowed to shecht an animal outside of the Beis HaMikdash. It says, if we stop right there, we have a kasha. It says mafurish, bedek habayis shenikru karban. An animal that's donated for the upkeep of the Beis HaMikdash is called and considered a carbon. And you just told me that it's not considered a carbon, that the word carbon in the Torah comes to exclude a bedek habayis. Kein shenemar v'nakriv is korban Hashem. You probably recall we just had it literally, I don't remember when, maybe a week ago, 2 weeks ago, maybe a month, I don't know, it's all a big blur, this Daf Yomi. But we just had it by Midyan. That the Klal Yisrael went to war with Midyan. Yeah, we just had it in the parasha, but we had it in the Gemara. They went to war. I know the Chumash from the Gemara. So it says in the Gemara, based on this week's parasha, that Klal Yisrael went to war with Midyan. They didn't lose a single person, and they were so excited that they brought korbanos. How does the Torah describe korbanos? Smidei Zav. Remember, we had a whole discussion whether gold is considered a carbon. Agapanim, it says in that pasuk that bedek habayis is called a carbon. Tamaloy marvel pesach oil moyed lo yeviyoi kol aboil pesach oil moyed chayavim alav mishum shchuti chutz. If I could shecht it, then I have an iser of shchuti chutz. V'chol sheim bol pesach oil moyed and chayavim alav mishum shchuti chutz. If I don't shecht it on mizbeach like bedek habayis, I'm not over on shchuti chutz. The bottom line is alma ikru carbon. The Gemara says mafurish that bedek habayis is considered a carbon. Or Reb Chanina lo ikashia, or Reb Shimon or Rabbanon machloikis. The Reb Shimon ikri carbon, the Rabbanon lo ikri carbon. How could we say that according to Rabbanon it's not called a carbon? V'oksiv and akrev is carbon Hashem. It says that they're gonna in Midyan over there they're gonna shech this animal. They're gonna bring it as a carbon. It says the Gemara carbon Hashem ikri. Carbon la Hashem lo yikri. There's a difference, says the Gemara. By us it says carbon la Hashem. I'm bringing a carbon to Hashem. It has to be a carbon, says the Gemara. V'nakir is carbon Hashem, just a regular carbon, like it says by Meiser, regular carbon. Carbon la Hashem is different. By us it says in the pasuk la Hashem. Torah Banon lo yivakim in Torah l'Rabbi lo yimiredu. It's a different. La Hashem means to. Who are you giving to? To Hashem. Hashem means it's owned by Hashem. It's not going to Hashem. It is Hashem's. That's the difference.
One is better than Bais and one is the Mizbeach.
Torah Baruch Lo Yivaker Ben Torah L'Rav Lo Yimirenu. So we said in Meiser it says Lo Yivaker Ben Torah L'Rav. The Gemara is just going over it and just elaborating a little bit more of what we discussed before. Lama Nemar. Why do you need this whole pasuk Lamed Gimel? It says by all the carbonis in pasuk Yud, Lo yachlifenu v'lo yomer oisoi toibera. Levisha nemer lo yachlifenu v'lo yomer oisoi. Yeah. So the Gemara is going to elaborate now. Levisha nemer lo yachlifenu v'lo yomer oisoi mashma carbon yochid. Since it says B'loshen Yachid, I would say that it means only a carbon that belongs to an individual. Carbon Tzibur, v'carbon Mizbeach, carbon Tzibur. V'carbon Mizbeach, v'carbon Bedek Habayis, Tamad Loi Ma Lo Yevaker. I would think it includes everything. Lo Yevaker. The reason why it has a kfeilos, and it says it twice to tell us that it's like Meiser, just like it has to be similar to Meiser Behema. And just like Meiser Behema is only a carbon Yachid, not a carbon Tzibur, and it's a carbon Mizbech, not a carbon Bedek Habayis. That's why the pasuk repeats itself. Omer Reb Shimon, Varei Ma'aser B'Klal Hoya, V'Lama Yotza, Lo Malach, Ma Ma'aser Korban Yochid V'Korban Mizbeach. And now he just adds a little bit to what we didn't know before. V'Davar Sheba B'Chayva. Ma'aser Behema is something that you're obligated to bring. So Mamela, it's something that you're obligated to bring. You can't do Temurah on something that you're not obligated to bring. What does that mean? V'davar she'eini b'shutfus. It has to be something that you don't have a partnership. Avkol, korban yochid, v'korban mizbeach, v'davar sheba b'chayva, v'davar she'eini ba b'shutfus daf yigimel beis. So, no, we started halfway. There's only half a amma today. Fine. The Gemara is going to explain in a second what that means exactly. Davar sheba b'chayva. I'll go on it. Is this like the Shemona Esrei and Chanichei? The Chazan got to Gal Yisrael, but nobody's with him? I see nobody turning the page even. What happened? Okay, you're there. I noticed you didn't turn the page. I didn't know why, but say it. Okay, that explains it. Rebbe Omer, Lama Yotza Ma'aser Ma'ato. So why is Ma'aser repeated? Same question, but he says a different pshat. He doesn't say that the pshat is like Reb Shimon, that everything is said in Lashon Yochid, and Lashon Yochid teaches me all these halachas. He says the pasuk comes for something else. There's basically, Rebbe says there's two things in Ma'aser Behema. There's a big chiddush in Ma'aser Behema. You have something he calls Temurah's Gufay. Temurah's Gufay is what we know as Temurah, a regular Temurah. Basically, you take the guf of this animal, and you say it should be instead of this animal. That's Temurah's Gufay. Then we have something called Temurah Shmoi, which we're very familiar with in Ma'aser Behema only. It's a special chiddush in Ma'aser Behema that if somebody calls the ninth animal going out of the pen, he calls it by mistake number 10, it becomes Kaddish. And if he calls number 11, he calls it number 10, it becomes Kaddish. What do you do with number 11? You bring it on the Mizbech as a carbon. Number 9, not so much. So Rebbe says an amazing chiddush here. Rebbe says that since the Torah talks about this Temurah Shmoi, you can make a mistake. Just by saying 11, it becomes Kadosh. You don't say this is instead of this. You say number 11. In any other carbon, there's no such thing. You don't call it oil 11 and it turns into a carbon. In Ma'aser Behema, you call an animal number 9 by mistake, boom, turns into Ma'aser Behema. So in Mela, I need a special pasuk to say that I also could do Temurah's Gufay. I could do regular Temurah. All korbanos, I know you could do Temurah's Gufay because it says in the pasuk Yud, Temurah's Gufay. But since Ma'aser Behema has something called Temurah's Shmoi, so I would think Temurah's Gufay doesn't work there. Mechtesa, that's the Gemara's kasha. Why would I even have such a havamina? But Rebbe comes and says, since the Torah tells me a special chiddush in Ma'aser Behema, so the Torah has to repeat itself and say, listen, it doesn't lose the other chiddush that everybody has of Temurah's, the regular Temurah. It has regular Temurah. Why? Because if you would say Rabbi Shmuel Omer every day, you wouldn't have your kasha, because then you'd know klal number 11. Kol davar shahoy b'chlal v'yotza lidam b'davar chadash. This is davar chadash. Temurah Shmoi is davar chadash. You can't go back to what everybody has. You're different. And the Torah said it befurish. It's mamish. This is klal number 11. We had no idea what it means, but now we know what it means. We said it as I fast all the years. 40 years we said it, no idea. If the Torah says again that is something called Temurah Shmoi, then I don't know about Temurah's Gufay like everybody else. It's Yotza, and you don't know about it until the Torah comes and elaborates Mefurish.
I do an exercise for one of my grandchildren.
No questions today, sorry. Weiter. No, we have what?
I told them I want to give some holidays to give me an example. Each one of the 30.
And they did?
No, you couldn't find one.
They did most of them. They probably got stuck on number 11. Here, this is it, right here. It's pretty rare, this number 11, but it's there. Okay.
But you can see how the Gemara could go into make it switch it into a Kal Vachomer to show that you should be able to say it as a.
No, you can't. You can't. That would be Malchus. You want to give a guy Malchus based on a Kal Vachomer, let's say. That's really bad. That wouldn't work. Okay.
You sure what you should do?
Zog the Gemara, Rebbe Omer Lama Yotzo Meiser Mata. Why did the Torah repeat the same halacha that we already know by all korbanos? That is a concept called Temurah. Lidoim betmurah shmoi ubetmurah gufay. Again, Temurah shmoi means just calling out the Meiser Behema as it comes out of the pen, calling it the wrong number. Only number 9 and number 11. Remember, it has to be close to number 10. Can't be number 3. Number 9 and number 11, you mix it up, you create a Meiser Behema just by saying the wrong number. Temurah gufay is the typical Temurah that somebody wants to do good, let's say for Hashem. He has a really terrible animal as a Meiser Behema that came out, because it says Lo Yavakar Ben Tov L'Ra. So a Baal Mum came out of the pen, it also becomes number 10 Meiser. So he decides to be Oiber Chacham and make number 11 without saying number. He says, this should be instead of the one that came out. I want to do better. That's Temurah gufay and it's Aser. Leimelach. Temurah Shmoi Kreva. Temurah gufay Eino Kreva. There's 3 nafkaminas between Temurah Shmoi and Temurah gufay. We always say this. We had this halacha many times. What are the 2? Here's the riddle, Rabbi Pessin's riddle. What are the 2 Temurahs in Shas that you cannot put on the Mizbeach? Every Temurah becomes exactly like the other one. The 2 that don't go on the Mizbeach, Meiser Behema and Bechar. We just finished Becharas. We should, of course. Temurah gufay Eino Kreva. The guf, a real Temurah of Meiser Behema only. Eino Kreva. And then another halacha. But a Temurah Shmoi, if you make a mistake and you call number 10, 11, that does go on the Mizbeach. Not number 9 though. Temurah Shmoi Nigeles. If the Temurah that you said number 11 instead of number 10 has a boo-boo, has a mum, you could redeem it. Temurah gufay Eino Nigeles. You eat it as is with the mum. Temurah gufay chol adover haroy v'adover she'eneru. If you're doing Temurahs Haguf, if you're doing regular Temurah, so Rashi explains, just like it says in the pasuk Lo Yavakar Ben Tov L'Ra, if a bad animal comes out of the pen number 10, it remains Meiser Behema. So if the original could be a Baal Mum, so the Temurah could also be a Baal Mum. The Temurah is like the original, and the original is Baal Mum, so the Temurah is also Baal Mum. But Temurah Shmoi Nechalo El Adover El Bavad. The amazing Chiddush, we learned it also many times, but we probably forgot that when it comes to Meiser Behema, when that animal comes out of the pen, number 11, you made a mistake and you called it number 10, it has to be a Tamim. It only works if it's a Tamim. Ask the Gemara the question, Amri, Mishum de Rabbi Rachman and Dizbei Temurah Shmoi, Igrui Igara. Just because the Torah added another Gdusha, another Temurah called Temurah Shmoi, so that's why Meiser Behema should lose the original that every animal in the world has called Temurah gufay? Yes. The Amrinon, Maide Rabbi Rabbi, Umaide Le Rabbi Le Rabbi. Yeah, maybe we should say such a thing. Because if the Torah says a Chiddush, it said the Chiddush, but if the Torah didn't, but where did you get this concept? It needs to be one of the Shloshis Midrash HaTorah in Reshmem. Number 11 in the list. Memela, it is one of the 13 Midrash HaTorah in Dreshes Behem, and therefore I would say that the Torah said a Chiddush, that there's something called Temurah Shmoi, that if you make a mistake in the number, it becomes Temurah. So I would lose the Temurah gufay, Kamashma on the Pasuk, the Kfelos in the Pasuk. That's why the Parsha is repeated again to tell us that there is a Temurah gufay. Amar Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak l'Rabba. L'Rebbe Shimon d'Amar Davar Haba b'Chayva. Right? So part of the list, right before we turn the page, Rabbi Shimon says, just like Meiser Behema, why does the Torah repeat itself twice? To tell us that we learn everything from Meiser Behema. Meiser Behema is Yachid, not Tzibur, it's Mizbeach, not Belek Habayis. And then he goes in to say, it's not Shutfim, he says, it's Chayva. It's obligatory. So, what's not? So let's see. So if a person is chayva oila, let's say a person gave birth, a woman gave birth, she has to bring oila. That's a chayva, fine. So that kind of oila, you could do temurah. But what if a person just said, I want to bring in a dava oila? Reb Shimon is going to argue and say that if a person says in a dava, you can't create a temurah. That's a huge chiddush. We never said such a thing, that there's an oila in the world that there's no temurah on it. Says Gemara, no, there isn't such an oila, really. There is and there isn't. Even the kabla of the Temurah. Once you accept it upon yourself to bring in a dava, now you're mechuyev. You have an obligation. You have to guarantee this animal. So now it's a chayv for you. So that chayv creates a Temurah. There's something called the oila that's minamisaros, the surplus oilas. What are those? What? Either extra money that somebody donated towards his asham chatas and it was leftover money, so you buy oila, or the famous case that we had just 3-4 days ago, where you donated a asham and the asham ran away. So you replaced it with another carbon, then you found the original asham. That asham turns it into an oila. That's a surplus oila. On that surplus oila, you cannot do Temurah.
Why is that not chiyuv? Bring that anymore.
No, there's a chiyuv to bring it. Who? But who's chiyuv? Is it a carbon yachid or carbon tzibur? What is that? Oh, so now the Gemara is going to go into that nekuda. Micah Savar. What does Reb Shimon hold? Ika Savar kemando amar moisros l'nidvas tzibur azli. What do you do with the extra animals? These surplus, you bring it for the tzibur. Pshita the way of the Temurah. On a tzibur, you don't do Temurah. That's the first halacha we learned today in the Mishnah, or the second, whatever. But it's in the Mishnah. Hayin Temurah b'tzibur. Elo Reb Shimon svir kiman omar moisros l'nidvas yochid azli. So it goes for the yochid, and still you don't create a Temurah with it. Man shams lehai svara. Who could Reb Shimon hold like that says that a moisar, a surplus, goes to the yachid? Has to be Rebbe Lezer. The problem is, if you go according to this one man, Rebbe Lezer, that says that surplus goes to the individual, that exact man holds that it does become Temurah. Yes, because when I promise you, when I was reading the Gemara, I thought that I didn't write it in my Gemara, but no, that's the style, right? Exactly it. The sign you're above my memory, so it's a Temurah. The Rebbe Lezer. Reb Shimon Savelo Kevasay Bechado. He holds that it becomes the moiser. The surplus goes to the Yachid. And Bechado, and he doesn't hold that it becomes Temurah. He holds it doesn't become Temurah. The Rebbe Lezer Sava Oilaha Bo Menam Yisrael so it's a Temurah. If you Sava, you know it's a Temurah. And now, finally for today. We're going back to that beautiful shaila that Reb Oven had the other day. Remember the three pictures, the three sheep. So now he throws in a little twist. Here. You have this Nebuch guy, he's an Asham. And he took the Asham and he did Temurah. Remember the sugya we had, there's a Manda Omar called Reb Shimon, who we're talking about right now, who says that once you do Temurah to an animal, it's a one-time deal. You can only do Temurah once. Once you did Temurah, he's locked out. You can't do Temurah again. So Rabban asked the Shaila, okay, what happens if you did Temurah? You're Yoitze, you're Aveira. Now you want to be over the Aveira again. You're Mamish Machmir. And it got lost. It got lost, and you replaced it with another carbon, and you miskaper with the other carbon. And then the first one got lost. And then you brought another carbon, and you miskaper. And then you found the first one. So the first one turns into an oila. Ask Rabbi Oven, does that oila, we do consider that oila, even though it's one body, but now it has another name. It's called oila. Do I get another freebie to do another avera called Temurah on the oila part of it? Because before I did a Temurah on the asham, now it's called an oila. That was question number one. Question number two, he asked, what if he has an asham, but it didn't get lost? Instead of getting lost, it got a mum. So so what do you do if it has a mum? You replace it with behema number two, gishmaka behema, and now, before it got a mum, he did Temurah on it, and now you replace it with number two. Can you do Temurah on behema number two? It's another body, it's another animal. But maybe it doesn't have its own individuality because it got its whole name Asham from number one. It replaces number one. So maybe, as for Oven, you cannot do Temurah on number two because number two is really number one. Those were his two questions.
Did we say Temurah?
Oh, what? No. Yeah. What do you mean? Ain't Temurah is a Temurah, but that's not the question here. This is, can you do another Temurah from this? Temurah is a Temurah means just forget this. If this number 2 became Temurah from this, can I take a third animal and go to number 2? That you can't do. Over here, this is instead of this. It's not Temurah. This is a Pidyon. This is a Pidyon of number 1. So let's see inside. So now we have to do a little bit of a twist. The Gemara says that Rabbi Oven's question is a lot worse than you thought. The what? Step number 1 is he put aside an animal as an asham. The hemir boy, and he was over on Temurah. So stop. If you don't have Rashi, you would continue reading, it wouldn't be good. So that's case number 1. Case number 2 is v'niskaper ba'asham acher v'nitag zeloila. Basically, the Gemara started off with this case, and then v'niskaper means we went to this case that the animal number 1 turned into an oila. There's only one animal. 2 cases the Gemara just brought down here, just under its breath. Without, if you don't have nekudas, it might be difficult to realize that we just stepped into another case. V'niskaper ba'asham acher. That number 1 got lost, so Memela had to get a kapara with a completely different animal. And then I found number 1. It doesn't say any of this in here. You have to stick in all these words. V'nitak zeloila. The second the Gemara says v'nitak loila, I know what happened. I know that he got a kapara, and my asham turned into noila. You have to be a Talmud Chacham and all this stuff. Ma'al sheyachzor v'yomer boy. Can I do a second Temurah on animal number 1? It's the same animal, but with a second name. Ask the Gemara, wait a minute, I'll leave it the man. I'll leave it to Reb Shimon. Reb Shimon is the one he's the one that says, Temurah you only do once. He's the whole question begins with Reb Shimon. It won't work, why? Reb Shimon severely, this guy right over here is a oila, a surplus oila. And a surplus oila, we in this sugi said that Reb Shimon holds, you cannot do Temurah. So that answers Rabbi Oven's question. So what's going to be the answer? Similar to Chsav al-Bechad. If you could find somebody that holds like Reb Shimon, that you could only do one Temurah per animal, but also find somebody that doesn't hold like Reb Shimon, that you could do Temurah, then I have Rabbi Oven's question. It won't be Reb Shimon per se. It will be somebody like Reb Shimon who holds differently than Reb Shimon in that. That's all the Gemara is saying now. Rabbi Oven, if you can find the Tana that holds like Reb Shimon, Reb Shimon is the one that says you can only do Temurah once. And if you can find another man Omar, not Reb Shimon, because we know that he doesn't hold like that. But if you find a man that says that you could do Temurah from a surplus, and this guy right over here is a surplus, and you also hold that you can't do more than one Temurah per animal, so that's the question that remains in a teiku. He asked question number 1, what if it turned into another body? Could I do Temurah on the second body? And also, he asked another question, and if you say, what happens if it's 2 kedushas? It's a asham and then a oila, the guf echad, in one body, my tibaye remains in a question. Hadron alocha kol mamirin. I am flying Be'ez Hashem to Chicago today. Tomorrow, because of Rosh Chodesh, tomorrow Rosh Chodesh, we are